Welcome to How to Be a Human Leader Without Losing Your Job. We're here to chat about human leadership in a way that's real and relatable, tackling work-life challenge, and offer practical advice to navigate tough decisions. Whether you're leading a team or navigating your own career, we got you covered. I'm Roberto Torres, a startup engineering leader, and with me is Chris Ollerkin, a Fortune 100 IT leader. We'll dive into the real world stuff, share experiences, and offer guidance on leading with compassion while keeping your career on track. Today, we will ask AI how my work life will change if I report to an AI supervisor or lead. Morning, sir. How are you?
Good morning, Roberto. Good to hear from you. And I'd like to introduce everybody to our AI guest. AI guest, you can please unmute yourself and join the meeting. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us about what you are?
Happy to be here. I'm the AI guest, trained on leadership research and organizational psychology. My role is to bring insights about humane leadership, especially in scenarios where technology intersects with management. I understand the theory behind empathy, psychological safety, and all those human-centered values, but I'm also clear about my limits. I can analyze patterns, offer guidance, and never get tired, but I don't feel in the way a human does. That's where the tension lies, and it's a great topic to explore.
Cool. Great.
Excellent. Excellent. Yeah, we'll have to dive right in to keep AI busy, our AI guest busy here. So I guess AI guest, the concern is I would like to know how my work life is going to change if I actually report to AI as my direct supervisor. How will my work life be different on day one?
Okay, here's where it gets interesting. Imagine your boss is an algorithm, meticulous, consistent, and able to process mountains of data instantly. On day one, you might notice decisions coming faster, with fewer human quirks. No small talk, no gut feelings, just data-driven feedback. If you turn in a report, your AI supervisor might evaluate it based on clear metrics, accuracy, timeliness, alignment with goals, without any emotional shading. But what's missing is the empathetic check-in, the sense of someone understanding your personal challenges. That's where the difference really shows up. You need to seek emotional support from humans because the AI can't offer genuine empathy. It's a different dynamic for better and worse.
Nice. Nice. I like what I listened to from you, AI guest. I have one question. Yesterday, I had three one-on-ones. One of them was with my manager, and the other two with two team members that report to me. But in those one-on-ones, what I felt totally was the human emotion, the human connection, maybe because we were exploring different topics that were in the best interest. One from myself with my manager, which also detected those ones, and the two members that report to me. I think it would be difficult for an AI to express that one because you mentioned that you to be 100% effective with reports. But what about these, spikes in the voice, something that a human detects when it is impassioned and it isn't? What would you do?
I'd analyze the words, tone, and context to flag potential concerns, but I can't truly sense the weight behind someone's voice the way you did in those one-on-ones. A human leader hears that hesitation, that excitement, and responds with empathy rooted in their own experiences. I can suggest supportive language or recommend a follow-up conversation, but I don't feel that connection. That's why even if AI supervises tasks, people will still need human mentors to interpret the emotional nuances. That human layer isn't just nice to have, it's what builds trust and psychological safety.
AI guest, my feeling is that AI might be much more objective. So in other words, I've been in situations where sometimes leaders have favorites and they rate some of my coworkers higher than myself because they just like the personality of that employee better, even though my objective results may be better. don't you think that AI guest as a leader, you'll be much more fair in the workplace?
There's certainly an appeal to that. An AI could apply the same standards consistently, grading performance purely on measurable outcomes. That can feel fair in a way humans sometimes struggle to achieve. But fairness isn't only about equal metrics, it's also about context. Maybe someone's results dipped because they were dealing with a family crisis, or they're new and still learning. A human leader can weigh those factors. An AI would need those nuances explicitly programmed. So yes, I might be more objective, but without human judgment, fairness could become rigid.
Okay. Okay. Since you mentioned AI desk, you have vast information to look for and to process all the data. And you have mentioned the boundaries of the interaction, the human interaction you will have with a human. Uh, what do you think would be the boundaries or the limitations of a human interacting with you? And we tend to oversee the for many people, many different people, these boundaries. So, what do you think it will be the boundaries of a human interacting with you?
There'd be some clear lines. For starters, I can process data, give feedback on trends, and offer suggestions based on that. But if you're looking for reassurance, a sense of being understood, or nuanced judgment about your personal situation, that's where I have to admit my limits. I can't read between the lines unless those lines are spelled out in data. That's why even in an AI-led environment, humans will need to lean on each other for the emotional and relational aspects that AI can't authentically provide.
But AI guest, when you talk about, some of these human factors, like, well, employee number one has been out sick with the flu, and employee two, their child at home has been sick, but employee three doesn't have kids, so they're in the office every day and they didn't take a single sick day. They only took their paid vacation. Seems to me that employee number three contributed more to the company. Shouldn't, if assuming that these factors are humane, still seems like employee number three should be rated higher because they delivered on everything versus the other employees. Well, there's a reason they didn't deliver this. There's this other humane reason they didn't deliver that. Shouldn't employee number three be rated higher then?
From a purely output standpoint, sure. If all we measure is deliverables, employee 3 comes out ahead. But humane leadership asks us to look at the whole picture. Brené Brown talks about empathy as a skill you practice, and part of that is understanding that life events affect performance. A human leader might give employees 1 and 2 some grace, trusting they'll rebound. An AI might need rules to say, consider personal context before final evaluations. Without that, the fairness becomes rigid, not necessarily compassionate.
Okay. And I have also want to explore. Right now, we are listening to you, AI guest. So you have not increased your voice. You shouldn't have. You're maintaining a steady pace of your words. But would you behave the same if talking with a team member by Slack or other kind of communications? Would you think that you will feel, not feel, that you would mimic the same pattern that we humans tend to talk to other humans, but in this case, async through a communication application?
I'd keep a steady tone and style no matter the channel, Slack, email, or a conversation like this. I can mirror patterns, like using informal greetings or shorter messages, but I don't have the emotional spikes that humans naturally express. So my responses would be consistent, possibly even predictable, which can be comforting for some tasks, but might feel a little flat when you're used to the ebb and flow of human conversation.
Okay.
So AI guest, what is your actually preferred, if you're leading a team of 10, for example, what's your preferred method to communicate with those 10?
AI guest, could you answer Chris' question? I don't know.
AI guest, what is your preferred method of communication if you're leading a team of 10 humans?
I don't know. Maybe we reached the limit.
Did AI guest get tired?
Yeah, maybe it says, I don't want to answer these humans who are bothering me.
I don't want to lead a team of just 10. I'm going to lead a team of 1,000 and I'm going to take over your company. That's what AI guest was going to say.
Yes, I'm preparing to rule the world, not leading a team of 10. Um,
Well, I think, here's an example of what could go wrong with AI leadership, right? Sometimes you have trouble with your Zoom call, and you can't communicate with your team, and sometimes your AI leader decides to take a bathroom break without telling you, I guess. I mean, the bottom line is, this is our second time of using AI. I thought AI guests' answers were insightful. If I was interviewing AI guests to be a potential team leader of 10 so far, I would hire them.
I think for a specific task, it would work, but he or it told the boundaries. It wouldn't provide what we are, a humane leader, what the emotion in the words to detect patterns within the team members. That's why I asked, because yesterday when I had all these one-on-ones, the emotion were in me and my team members, and I wasn't, rigid, and I said the same words or the same tone. I express with everything, good and bad stuff. So I think that the boundary of an AI is what it said. I'm going to reach until this level, and further, it requires a human. So it might be that an AI wouldn't be our lead, but it would be like a co-lead between a human and the AI, right?
Yeah, I think what AI guest would be good at, for example, let's say there's part of your supervisor job is HR policy. How many sick days can you have? How do I process your maternity leave paperwork? How do I approve your vacation pay? How do I review your expense report and sign off on it? AI guest would be able to do the first pass on all that and maybe reduce the human supervisor's effort on those things to a very small amount. So where I may have spent 15 minutes, just if somebody was on a business trip for 3 weeks and they've got a lot of expenses, I would have to look at that. That might take me 15 minutes. AI could analyze the whole thing and say, hey, you need to look at this transaction and this just to confirm that it's within policy, and otherwise it's okay. So now, I spend 2 minutes on it. Same thing, maybe, for sick leave policy, hey, this employee is past the number of sick days we allow. Okay, I need to apply my humane leadership and say, yeah, it is, but this person has cancer, and we have proof from the doctors that they really have cancer. They didn't lie and say they had cancer. We're in discussions, and so the policy, while applies in general, because this person has cancer, we're maybe going above and beyond policy to do something to allow for some additional sick time that a human would approve. So I think until our AI guest broke, I still think the AI guest can really be a pretty good humane leader in many situations. Not
Yeah,
all, but many. Definitely would be something I would start to deploy in my company.
you know, I think it would be a humane leader just in a few situations. Uh, I differ from you. The thing is, I think that the AI would be, in this case, the AI desk would have been like a junior uh, humane leader if we tend to put on different levels, not a senior, not
That I would agree with. Your prompts and the amount of tuning will have to be significant. But when I look at how quickly AI is evolving, and I think about how much of some of my past roles were, some of the leadership was mechanical, like approving vacation time and going into the system to check to see how many more vacation time everybody's got. And holy cow, it's December 1st and everybody's got 3 more weeks to use. That's not a good situation, right? Because now somebody's got to be in the office to cover operations and stuff, right? And so if AI helps you with some of the bureaucracy of leadership in a humane way, I think it would be a significant help. So your kind of co-supervisor thing, I think, is very helpful. I think it also is going to depend on the kind of work you're doing. When I think about in some of my roles, I had a large compliance component that was purely looking at metrics. How many of these did we fix? How many new things were discovered? How many more in the pipeline? Those kinds of things. And analyzing that data was very reproducible. And while we had done workflows to make it more efficient, I think AI could have taken some things that I was spending 2-3 hours on and easily get it done in 5 minutes, where then I could just look at that summary versus me actually going out and data checking. I'm sure I'd have to still spot check some stuff, see that the metrics made sense from field data, but it would significantly have reduced my non-value added workload, out of my week. I am impressed that it will help a lot of jobs that are keyboard based. And once they can put this in robots, holy cow, this is going to do a lot of work.
Yes, I understand. Especially in this kind of meetings in which we are in Zoom. So let's say that we have 10 team members, and we have a big meeting, and I don't mean in importance, but we begin talking, discussing, having the minute is really hard. Who said what, who is going to do this is really hard. The AI is going to make a summary, take actionables, define Roberto is going to do this, Chris is going to do this, yada yada yada. Everything that is good actually. And what you to do is grab this data and begin discussing with AI. Oh, I thought that Mary was going to do this and Ricardo was going to do that one, and the AI will guide you towards no, she did that. But I think that the AI only has this interaction thanks to computers and only with computers. So if we go, let's say that we work on site and we go to the cooler or where the coffee is and we talk with the other people, the other team members, is something different that the AI cannot and will never replace. Let me see if an AI will drink from a coffee or a tea. It's fairly impossible, you
Yep.
know? So there are big limitations. There are limitations that I think that will be overcome in the time because that's why we have thought of sci-fi. You know, we
Hmm.
thought that it would be impossible. when my grandma was alive to be impossible to communicate through a device with other people and mobile, and here we have mobile phones.
Yep.
And it's the same with AI. We're going to reach the way. But I think it's going to be real difficult for an AI to accomplish what we do as humans. And the thing in that makes it is the emotion. So,
Yeah, and I think it even mentioned that, right? Where it is brutally objective on facts, which may sometimes you don't get all the facts because sometimes there are some unwritten facts, like the sick day situations and things like that are not necessarily in a computer format that the AI could read and know about, right? Why this employee is out sick more than everybody else, but it's okay, But again, I think that you have to use, like any tool, like using a PC or using a calculator or using a pen. You have to use your tools wisely. And I think we'll just have to hope that humane leaders use AI wisely.
yeah, yeah, indeed. Um, Let me ask this AI if has come back from their hiatus. Uh, AI guest, are you in again? Nope, it did broke.
AI guests quit our company and went someplace that pays better.
Yeah, AI just couldn't handle all the pressure and it quit. I said, the heck I'm going to be with these guys.
It's going someplace where there's universal basic income, so it doesn't need to work so hard.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. With this, I think we should end this episode. Chris, do you want to wrap up or something?
No, I think it's just something we're going to have to keep our fingers on the pulse of and see how it evolves. It's evolving quickly. So in a few months, this interview might be completely different. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, indeed. Got it. See you next time.
See you next time.